And welcome back to another exciting, action packed episode of Cooking with Steve. This is in our trans series, and what's up with trans? And we have discovered some new information. My crack research team has been working on this, and we've been wondering about the origins of trans identifying, transgender, that whole thing, whatever that thing is. Can't quite figure it out. But I hope my microphone's working better. Was getting some whistling, sounded like I was in an iron lung or something. Think I've resolved that. Well, we'll find out. I don't know how to tell without making the video and then posting it and then listening. And then it's just too late to do anything. But, okay, the whole trans, it's all very new. Although I know we've heard historically it's been around forever. Been 40 to 70% of the population were trans-identifying throughout history. I'm sure Abraham Lincoln was trans, George Washington, some of the founding fathers. I mean, they all wore wigs. But I have discovered through research that just prior to trans, we had another movement that was equally crazy, not quite as loud and proud, but the hipster movement. And these were mostly younger people that thought that this was a good idea to spend 3 hours every morning getting dressed like you just threw clothes on in 1 minute and went out of the house. Dress up time and attention seeking. Look at me. I'm whatever this is. And I drink PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon, which in my day was known to be like about the worst beer available. And if you want a cheap beer, that was a good one. Olympia, Pabst Blue Ribbon, I can't even remember, Old Milwaukee. The only thing really worse was Lucky Lager. And that was so bad, it was almost good. But, this whole thing, getting dressed, making your hair look funny, just attention seeking. I remember I saw one guy was working near him on a weekend event, and he was like very hipster, like had the whole thing going on, the shirt and the high water pants with the boots and Argyle socks. And I can't remember, I might have had suspenders, but has like the whole hair thing, clips in it. Like, oh yeah, wow, you're really cool. And then at the end of the day, I saw him getting into a minivan. Like, oh, how hip. You're supposed to be driving like a old Ford Fairlane or a Plymouth Valiant or something like that, convertible, not your mother's minivan. But so the hipster movement, just so annoying too. Actually, more annoying than trans, I'd have to say. And I just want to hit them with a golf club, like a pitching iron. A couple times, I take a little chip out of the head. I wonder what noise that would make. I'd like to get that as a ringtone for my phone. Let's see. Hello, Cooking with Steve. Can you call right back and just let it ring for a while? I love my new ringtone. Let's wait for that call to come back. Hopefully we've got redial. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Get that golf club out there. Get me another hipster. This one's worn out. Okay. Let me hang up on that. I'll call you back. So yeah, that's where it came from. And it's dress up time. And then now if somebody 15 years ago or 12, whenever that hipster thing started, if someone had told these impressionable, just easy to lead youths of that era, like, oh no, don't comb your hair weird and drink cheap beer and think you're cool. Dress up like a girl and run around and try to play girl sports. But yeah, get into boxing, try to box with girls. That would have taken off, but instead, I guess the don't want to start a problem with that audience. Hipster movement. It's just like a crazy fashion. Now, I remember when bell bottoms was a thing back in the 60s, and I specifically remember in 5th or 6th grade, I got my first pair of bell bottoms, And I was not on the cutting edge of, I wouldn't say the cutting edge of fashion, because I am on the cutting edge of fashion, but I wasn't on the follow the leader edge of fashion. And I remember in 6th or 5th grade, I can still visualize where in the school it was. This guy came up to me, he goes, "Oh, you're finally wearing bell bottoms." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, geez, yeah. Yeah, man, but I probably won't be getting the tattoos all over my neck, like the next great phase." And that, like, yeah, and I've seen a lot of people. There's still a couple hipsters around the Philippines with the hair shaved on the side, the top, little ponytail or something. I'm like, hey, why don't you get a mullet? Oh yeah, not enough hair left. And I also see some older people, my age, that's old, with tattoos on their legs, on the back of their legs. And they didn't get that when they were 18, when it's kind of like acceptable to be stupid enough to get a tattoo all over your leg or your arm. They must have got those later, when it was, because it was not trendy until the 80s or 90s. And so these people would be 40 years old, like, "Oh, here's a new trend. Let's get a tattoo all over my leg." Like, really? You're going to fall for that one? They don't come off. But so I managed to be tattoo free. Not following the latest trend, other than following the news, following the source where it goes, whatever it is that my completely random show is about. But speaking of that, completely random, Donald Trump did do a 180-degree turn, took a completely different viewpoint on Ukraine, now is supporting Ukraine, thinks they can beat Russia, take all their land back, and maybe more. Like, oh, that's good to encourage them. Maybe send some tanks into Moscow. That always works out. But that could change. I haven't checked the internet in 20 minutes, so he might have already changed his mind on that. But I think Putin got him mad, and he's no longer friends. So now Ukraine is the friend, and so we'll see how that goes. I think Trump just wants to avoid a war. Certainly a war with the U.S., but the deep state and the military-industrial complex loves that war because it's burning up equipment, and the whole drone thing is new, so now they've got to make defenses for drones plus drones. They love that. That's ka-ching, 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 more money. But it's also burning up Russia, and Russia can't, they can't fight at all. They couldn't fight 4 years ago when they attacked Ukraine, but now they're depleted, and that's, I think, the goal now is just deplete them, and it's too bad on Ukraine because they're getting fucked pretty good, but who knows? So we'll see how that goes, and we'll maybe do an update on Ukraine, that situation, how many, where it's going, what's happening. I kind of lost interest. It's like, it's another war. As long as the United States doesn't make it last 40 years or 20 years. And then also, Trump does want the base in Afghanistan back, that $1 trillion base that the U.S. military built right before they abandoned Afghanistan under the Biden administration. But, all right, well, that wraps it up. What's that, 8.5 minutes? I'll probably add another minute of some commentary, more pictures of hipsters. I want to really get a good golf club sound and get some. I'm going to try to work on some graphics of what it would look like to hit a hipster in the head with a pitching wedge and get that sound down. So this, who knows, if I get a good graphic, this video could last, might run 20 minutes. But we'll see. Great to see you. Remember to like it and share it and leave a comment. Anything new, exciting that you'd like to see, anything I haven't covered that I should cover, you let me know. And have yourself a great rest of the week.